This week's film is Stanley Kubrick's horror masterpiece, The Shining, released in 1980. Adapted by Kubrick and Diana Johnson from Stephen King's novel of the same name. The film stars Jack Nicholson in a controversial performance, considered by some as over-the-top and others as exceptionally powerful and nuanced. Also appearing are Shelley Duvall, Danny Lloyd, and Scatman Crothers. For many, the Overlook Hotel is not just the setting for the film, but is itself a major character. When the film was released in 1980, it was panned by critics, and although it performed reasonably well at the box office, both reviewers and audiences complained that the film was excessively long, slow, and difficult to understand. It rejected the familiar conventions of horror and slasher films that were becoming more and more popular in the 1970s, and viewers expecting another Halloween or Texas Chainsaw Massacre didn't quite know what to make of this odd and unsettling film. Indeed, the narrative of The Shining, with all its ambiguities, offers viewers a real alternative to the kind of classically structured narrative offered by films like North by Northwest. For an example of the narrative ambiguity in The Shining, take a look at the video file Time and Space in Room 237 in the Instructional Materials folder. This week, I'd like to leave it up to the class to shape the discussions in the forums. I would, however, like to offer a few comments on several aspects of the film that I think are significant and that I hope will be taken up in the discussions. This week's reading in the textbook is Chapter 2, Cinematography, so I'll expect some discussions of the film's photography and camera work. The lighting and camera work in this film is, in my opinion, masterful. What do you think? Can you offer any specific examples of shots or scenes from the film that jumped out at you? If so, what lighting and camera elements help make that shot or scene memorable to you? The film is, without a doubt, scary, but there are very few traditional or conventional frights in the film. There's very little actual direct violence, and no deaths occur until the final 10 minutes of the film. Viewers expecting the kind of jump-out-of-your-seat scares offered by slasher films such as Halloween and Friday the 13th will probably be disappointed. Instead, Kubrick manages to create a very tense psychological atmosphere that can get under the viewer's skin. How does Kubrick's use of the camera and of mise-en-scène, that is the setting, the props, etc., help create this sense of psychological terror? Finally, in the page Faces in The Shining, I offer some examples of a significant stylistic and compositional motif in the film, the human face. Can you identify any additional motifs? They don't have to be visual or compositional, but can also be narrative. Although I'd like to see these issues dealt with in the forums this week, don't feel limited in what you post. I'd also be interested in hearing your thoughts about the film's narrative, its visual style, its use of sound, and your assessment of the performances of the lead actors. Well, good luck on the quiz this week, and I'm looking forward to some interesting conversations about this very strange film. The Shining, directed by Stanley Kubrick and released in 1980. I hope you enjoy it.